If it looks too good to be true, then it definitely is. Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, and that you are having a great day. And in today's video, I am not sitting back, I'm not relaxing, because in today's video, I'm here to talk to you guys about the newest card game to hit the market. Money cards, that's right. If you buy a box right now, you're gonna gain infinite value because the boxes are only gonna go up. They're gonna go to the moon, baby. It's infinite money with money cards. And I'm done with this joke because I'm too old for my knees to be bending at that angle. Holy crap, that actually kind of hurt me. If you couldn't tell, in today's video, we are gonna be talking about crypto bro mindsets and crowd-funded card games and the kind of toxic mindset that has creeped into the world of collectibles in recent years. You see, ever since maybe 2020, 2021, we have seen a growing number of games, card games, and video games coming to market where either the devs themselves, the team behind the game itself, or some third-party investor-minded individuals really play up the financial viability of the game before it's even come out. More often than not, it is a product that comes to market through Kickstarter or Kickstarter-like websites. I know there's a few variations of Kickstarter out there. There's a few sites that do the Kickstarter thing. So, I'm aware of that. And often, not always, but often when we see things like this, the story is the same. There's a lot of lofty promises at first. There's an initial hype as people move into it, skyrockets in price, and then once the gains are locked in, so to speak, there's a big rug pull, and everyone who didn't cash out immediately loses everything on effectively a dead game, right? We see it with all kinds of special Kickstarter card games. We see it with NFT-infused video games. I think there was one relatively recently that just shut down that had all these promises of super value gain from farming NFTs in the video game itself. I forget what it was called. It was some pixel art game that I looked at like a year ago. We saw it in card games, for instance, with MetaZoo, where it wasn't MetaZoo themselves promising infinite bazillion money, but there were a lot of what I'd like to call bad faith actors out there who were really, really kind of Ponzi scheming it up. If you bought MetaZoo, it's going to go up 6 months from now. So you should buy MetaZoo from me. We saw a lot of that when it came to MetaZoo. We saw a lot of that when it comes to a lot of Kickstarter card games. And I need to be clear that while it can seem like the investor bro mindset for those kind of games may seem similar to what we're seeing with games like Pokemon and One Piece, it's not actually the same. You see, games like MetaZoo and that video game whose name I'm actually completely forgetting right now, they need a constant inflow of new money, new hype. It's a Ponzi scheme for all intents and purposes. I'm not actually calling it a Ponzi scheme. I'm saying it's very similar to it in that it needs a constant influx of new buyers to stay afloat, because the game itself at its core isn't fundamentally solid. It's not all that fun to play. It doesn't have a thriving user base, and most of the people who have bought into it are people who are expecting some grand return on their investments. Pokemon and One Piece and Dragon Ball and Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Zatch Bell card game. I'm sure that'll be relevant in 17 years. Card games that experience these boom and bust hype cycles, meanwhile, they survive without the hype. You know, if Pokemon's hype bubble were to pop tomorrow, like it has in the past several times, it would still continue on as a solid game. It doesn't need a whole extra 10% user base injection every 6 months in order to stay relevant. That's just not how it works. Pokemon is one of the largest franchises on the planet. This is just a fact. Has one of the largest collector and player bases on the planet. It's just a fact. And it's a generational collectible. It's just a fact. So it's not quite the same thing as a lot of these lofty promise games that really need you to buy into it now and get more people buying into it later in order for it to still stick around, in order for more product to come out. And understand at the fundamentally, they do both need the same thing. If people stopped buying Pokemon entirely, Pokemon would obviously stop releasing new boxes. If people stopped buying MetaZoo, and they did, MetaZoo stops producing more boxes, right? The difference is how likely is it to survive if the whales and the hyper investors come into it? And that's where the big difference is made. You see, if a bunch of uh, crypto bros suddenly stop buying into MetaZoo, there's not much of a established player base keeping it going, right? If a bunch of crypto bros stop buying into Pokemon or One Piece, well, those both have healthy player bases, healthy collector bases, healthy fans to keep it going. And this is why I'm always hyper cautious whenever someone's telling me to buy into this or to check out that or speculate on something, something, whatever. Especially when it comes to like completely a car outside just revving its engine nonstop. Okay, guy. That was interesting. Whenever someone's telling me about this new thing on the block that everyone's super excited about, is it a bunch of people are buying into it because it's the new hotness, or are they buying into it because it's a genuinely cool game that has a lot of potential, or are they buying into it because a bunch of their friends told them that if they buy into it, they're going to make a boatload of money? Because that matters. More than once, I've seen people talking about new games on the block that don't have anything else going for them. I don't hear about how good the game is. I don't hear about the mechanics or the lore, if there is any. I hear about, bro, have you heard about this game? It's doing great because the boxes are potentially going up. And you see it on, you just see it on the weird corners of the internet from time to time of, hey, you should check this game out because it might go up. I don't care if it goes up. I care if it's good. With that ramble out of the way, part of the reason I bring this up is because there are always new games coming out, right? And it's important, I think, that you have the ability to kind of, at a glance, tell whether or not this is something that you want to buy because you're interested in it or because it's something that people are trying to sell you on. If people are trying to sell you on it and trying to get you to buy a box because it's the best thing ever, maybe be a bit more skeptical. But if it's something like, hey, bro, there's a new card game coming out based on an IP that was very popular for a while. There's a new Cyberpunk TCG coming out. That's right. There's a new Cyberpunk card game coming out. It's going on Kickstarter in March, I think. And there's a lot of people super excited for it. You know what I'm hearing about that card game? Card previews. People are talking about the rules. People are talking about Adam Smasher having 2 alt art cards already, and the game's not even out yet. People are talking about how excited they are to get a new Cyberpunk TCG and all that jazz. I'm not hearing people talking about, I'm going to buy a bazillion boxes because this can only go up. This is the best thing ever. You know, whereas I have seen that. I have seen campaigns for card games that have like NFT tie-ins. It's such a terrible idea. Card games that you have to redeem your packs through an app so that you can put your cards on the blockchain, like that kind of stuff. Silly nonsense. Card games that have absolutely nothing going for them. They use AI art and the mechanics look awful. But all the people who talk about it, when I criticize it, they're like, you don't understand. You can get this at Target. It's super cheap. It's going to go up. It's the best thing ever. Like, I hear that all the time. And when people say it's going to go up, or when people say you're missing out on a huge investment, instead of saying it's a fun game with a lot of good mechanics behind it, that strikes me as a sucker's game. And I have zero interest in it. So, just putting that out there whenever I'm looking at new card games, whether it's to buy and crack and sell the singles, because that's what I do a lot with card games, is I see new stuff, I crack them, and I hold aside anything that I want to keep for myself, and then I sell the rest. or to talk about on the channel, because I do like to talk about card games on the channel from time to time. In fact, I'm going to be talking about Vanguard soon, because I just ordered some more boxes from that. Of an older set. It was an older set, but I do want to talk. I don't think I've talked about Vanguard, and I was looking through some Vanguard boxes on TCG Player, and I was like, did any of these sets have cards that I want? And then I found one that did indeed have a card that I wanted, so I was like, all right, I'll see if I can pull that card, and while I'm doing that, I can talk about Vanguard on the channel. But that's the thing, is like, is it going to be a game that I think will be fun, or is it a game that I think people are just going to want to fleece me for later? So, I don't know. It's going to be down to the individual person. If you buy enough card games, if you interact with the market enough, you're going to have a pretty good sense for what can and can't be avoided. And, you know, it's a skill. It's something that you're going to have to decide for yourself whether or not you apply it or all that jazz. But, you know, always be critical of lofty promises of infinite growth and value and all that jazz, because whenever you see something like that, that should set off some red flags. That's all I'm really trying to say here. If someone's trying to sell you a new card game based exclusively on, bro, it's going to go up, it's going to be super valuable in 10 years' time, right? Ignore them. It's never a good idea. If Flesh and Blood, I got into Flesh and Blood. I was buying and selling it when it first came out. I wasn't super into it. I did not actually play the game until Uprising, I think, was the set. I attended an Uprising pre-release. So like 2 years or so into the game's history. And I attended it because while I had been buying it for a bit, selling it for a bit, I was not really all that interested in the game itself. I just wasn't looking for a new card game. But I was told that Flesh and Blood was a really cool fantasy alternative to Magic the Gathering that had a really tight mechanics system with some really cool character cards to do. And if I was a fan of EDH, then I would probably be a fan of Flesh and Blood. That's what got me to play Flesh and Blood. Just being told, hey, this is a cool game with some really cool mechanics. If I was told that Flesh and Blood was a game where I could only ever make value because the first box was $1,000 or something like that, I would have never touched it as a game. I would have continued to buy it because it did look like it was profitable at the time. But if I was sold Flesh and Blood on value rather than fun game, I would have never tried it. And now Flesh and Blood is one of my favorite games. You know, the people who try to sell me on Sorcery, they sell me on Sorcery because it is a fun game with a cool mechanic based on actual old fantasy art that's hand-drawn, non-digital, all that jazz. So sooner or later, I am going to try out Sorcery. Don't get me wrong. That is coming to the channel at some point, whenever I can get my hands on some, right? People who try to sell me on Wonders of the First, they sell it to me on, bro, this game is going to make you so much money. Just buy the boxes. And I can't pass on that hard enough. So, I feel like I'm rambling. So, I'm going to end it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Leave a comment down below if you agree with me, disagree with me, think I'm crazy, or whatever have you. Check out the Discord. Check out the Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.